came back to the district. It was small. So we kind of brainstormed around the idea, 'cause as you know, the Monomoy M with the shark, the phrase Monomoy Sharks, as well as the phrase join the Finsanity, those are all licensed trademarks that we hold the trademark on. So we sent out an invitation to 5 vendors on the Cape, inviting them to participate, to be an official vendor for the Monomoy gear. So far, we just put it out, so last week, Dave Condon from Cape Cod Embroidery paid it'll be an annual licensing fee. And what they will do, and all of this information is in your packet, they will get an okay from us before they affix the trademark on anything, just to make sure that we approve of whatever item it is that the logos and the trademarked items will be a part of, and they'll be able to sell the items, and we said that on our website, we will be advertising that these are our official vendors. We have some vendors that, when we will be asking them to produce some items that, for instance, might be for sale in the school store. That's a different thing altogether. So at this point in time, Cape Cod Embroidery is the only vendor that can sell gear directly to the public that has the trademark Monomoy logo and the sharks and everything on them. So I just want to update you on that. And it's an annual and it's ongoing. There isn't a deadline, so anybody that's interested in paying the licensing fee is welcome to do so. Okay? And they're in your packets. Any questions?
Brian?
I'd like to direct this again to the people who are watching this meeting from the public. I would request that people who are going to buy Monomoy, are going to support the Monomoy Regional School System by purchasing these things, really be sure that they are purchasing the stuff that's been licensed. I've had the experience recently where I was in the Shaw's Market in Harwichport, and there's all kinds of stuff there that says Monomoy Sharks on it, and all kinds of things that I understand are not probably in violation of our trademark, because they don't have, I'm sure they don't have the M or the shark or anything else. But there's a lot. Well, I don't know if there's a lot, but I found a place with a huge supply of Monomoy gear, which I would hope people would preferably buy it from us, because obviously it benefits the kids and it benefits the school system. And
to that point, that was, I'm hoping at this point that those items have been removed. They did that without any authority of the district. So I've had many conversations with that particular vendor. And those items were supposed to have been removed from the shelves. And so, that's, and we're trying to be, we want this, we want our name, we want our logo, we want things out there, we want it to be used appropriately and, to the most benefit of the district. And it's exciting to see, all the different things go by. But we have to just keep a tight rein on it until we're pretty established. So if you see them at the grocery store, please give me a call, because they shouldn't be there.
Brian, I will ask you to continue aisle 3.
to see if happy to hear that I get the mission of going to the grocery store every week.
You can do some Christmas shopping.
Thanks, Katie.
You're welcome.
Which brings us to snow removal.
Don't go anywhere.
A nice transition, I know.
The district is responsible for plowing the high school, the parking lot. So we put out invitations to 5 vendors and asking for pricing if anybody was interested to plow just here. We have a meeting on Monday with the towns to just kind of finalize all of the pieces in terms of the other schools, but we are responsible for plowing up here. And we only had one responder, which was Robert Auer. I know we were late in sending out, so I think a lot of the vendors probably have their clients committed for the winter, but I've been informed that it's not gonna snow this year at all. So what I sent to, I think got distributed tonight, is the information that was sent out to the vendors with the pricing, and what I am asking, only because from now until January, our next meeting, the town did say if we were in a pinch, they would certainly, not leave us high and dry, and they would plow, but I am asking, please, to kind of make it an exception that you're hearing it for the first time, but that we could award this contract to Robert Hour for our snow removal for the prices that are contained in the sheet. So I don't know, I don't know if you do it under action item, but that's what I'm presenting to you.
Okay. So
Does
you
anyone
need a
have
vote of
questions?
approval,
Well-
Brian?
Well, I'd like to ask a question. It says minimum number of hours to be charged, 4 hours. Maybe this is a dumb question, but that means, 4 hours when it snows. We're not guaranteeing them 4 hours of services if it doesn't snow, right?
No,
Okay, it's not, this isn't, we're paying them an amount
Oh, no.
so that they'll be available.
No.
We're only paying them as we go.
No, I think that's exactly right. And in addition, there's a sentence that said that the snow will be done as directed by the district. So we'll be having a meeting with them to talk about, if it's a dusting, if we need things just sanded, make sure we get involved with the principal, if there happens to be snow, which there isn't gonna be any, but where do we want the snow piled, what areas, so we'll work closely with them so that, they take care of the grounds and the parking lot areas the way that we want them to.
Steve?
Two quick things. One, this is just for this property right here.
Yes,
All the others are taken care of by the respective towns.
By the
Right.
regional agreement.
Correct.
right.
And from past experience, because they're taking the liability as being the plower, they're gonna tell you when they're gonna show up. And they're gonna tell you when they're gonna sand, because they're picking up the liability. So
Well, we'll tell them,
No,
yeah,
you don't have a choice in that, honestly.
yeah.
So, but I will say that ours numbers are very close to what's out there with other vendors, so it's right on mark.
And also, snow removal is exempt from bidding and procuring. That's why we could just solicit quotes from different vendors. We didn't have to do sealed bid because it is an exempt procurement.
I guess I have one other question. Now, the document you've given us is a price quotes for a 3-year period. Are you seeking for authorization for 3 years or just the existing year?
Well, I would like to do 1 year with 2 option years. We'll see how it goes. And that's how we priced it out. Because I think it'd be nice, especially if the service is good, to know going into the next season that we already have somebody that has us on their radar.
I like the
Sharon?
idea a lot of that, especially after what Steve said, of us not being able to control when they come out here,
Well-
seeing how it works out.
At the same time, we also don't have control of when any of our other buildings get plowed either. And that was an eye-opener to me this past year. Now, granted, it snowed an awful lot on the Cape, but I came from a regional district where, we had, over the course of time, purchased our own, trucks, with, so our own pickups big enough to have a plow blade, and we pushed our own snow. So, oftentimes we were waiting on the town to go and plow the roads. I remember there was one day, it was about 2 in the afternoon, and I'm texting my former foreman a picture of the Chatham, the Chatham Middle School, High School complex that hadn't had any vehicle come near it at 2 in the afternoon, and he was inland where it was a lot worse. He's like, well, we've been plowed out since 8 in the morning. So, I mean, you're sometimes waiting no matter what.
Have we ever had a problem with not being able to hold school because we weren't plowed out early enough?
I think we were let's call it fortunate this year that when Mother Nature decided to dump on us, it was usually significant or right during the commute. So so it wasn't the plowing, not being plowed out, that was getting us. The roads, even if the roads were clear, the roads just weren't ready for school period.
Because for 37 years or so, we've never, before regionalization, I don't remember ever having a problem, but I don't know what's going to happen now.
Brian?
I think, the fact that there's gonna, as you mentioned, Steve, there's gonna be more control on their part as to when the snow is removed and sanded and salted and all the rest. It makes me feel good to know that it's a one-year contract with options to renew, because if we feel they're abusing the need, then we can hopefully find someone else in some subsequent years. So, given the fact that you say that, from your experience, these are market rates, or as good as market rates, we have the protection of being able to opt out in future years. I'd make a motion that we
I just
approve
like
this contract.
to state that the parking lot where my hardware store is under contract to Bob Hour and has been for probably 15 years. They do an outstanding job.
They'll be a little bit later this year.
First.
Well, they certainly have, done well by us in terms of the building project as well.
I second that motion.
We have a motion. In the light of, we usually wait a week, but in the light of Katie's point that it's the 17th of December, and it doesn't take a surprise to have us experience a storm between now and the next meeting, so I'd entertain a motion, and
Yep, made one.
Yeah.
seconded by Sharon.
Yeah.
All those in favor of committing to this bid and contract,
Aye.
signify by aye, and opposed. Carries unanimous. Thank you, Katie. The next item would be item 6, and it's school committee goals. I think they're in our packets.
So, what's been passed out to you,
Was that on our agenda?
I think there's two versions.
There are two versions.
Yeah, 'cause
Which one are we doing, the one that was online or the one we have in our packet?
I think the one that was online,
This is a lot shorter.
We got it.
We were on a roll. No, that's the wrong one, I'm sorry.
Get my hopes up.
So the school committee goals, where we had left off, there was the want to add a 5th goal heading of communication and move some of the items that were in other goals under communication. So they've been moved and in some way, in some cases, slightly tweaked to read as a communication goal. And then a couple of the goals under pride have been tweaked to read more as specifically pride, because I think a lot of the pride goals were sort of intertwined with communication before.
I think our communication committee is going to meet to try to flesh out that communication a little bit more. Right? I'm looking at you because Nancy's not here, right? So,
Okay.
okay.
So this is not an action item tonight?
Apparently not. If item
I
5,
didn't even know it was coming up.
so it appears that we'll just await your subcommittee to review that item 5. And bring it
Well,
forward.
Basically, I'd like to look at them all more thoroughly. I didn't know it was coming up at all. We brought it up once before when you passed this out, but we didn't have any time to discuss it, or maybe other people have looked at it closer than I have. But I'd like to look at it all and meet with this communications subcommittee.
Barbara, schedule it.
Okay, then hold on to this document, and we'll have a follow-up. Sharon, let Barbara know when that's been done, so we can forward it at our next meeting or the meeting afterwards.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
and the subcommittee on communication, don't be too hasty, because we could move this along and it could become the 216, 217 goals. So I just thought that it might be kind of, okay? So put some thought into this, thank you.
Mission statement.
The next item would be the mission statement that was presented a couple of months ago and reviewed and then discussed here a month or so ago, and then referred to a subcommittee of two of our colleagues, and Scott, Ed, and Sharon, who reviewed it, and it's coming before us as hopefully a finalized version.
This isn't, maybe this was your understanding, but the learners, when we met, the learners was the word that I objected to. So I would like it to say, Monomoy Regional School District is a community of all ages, or community focused on building knowledge, positive character, resiliency, and resiliency in a safe, creative, and challenging environment. And my reason for that is that it's not that I disagree with learners, it's just that I see that we have become, well, having been in education for lots of decades, we do something, we change it, it gets changed again. If you look at the copy that we had before, within the last 2 or 3 years, it's been changed multiple times, and I expect in a few more years it will be changed again. So I definitely don't think we should engrave it on anything, because it's something in flux that could change any time. But as far as the learners go, I think learners is a high priority, very high. That's what we're basically here for. But I do feel like schools have gotten way out of balance. And that is, our focus is academics, academics, and nothing else. And academics definitely has to be important. It is our essential, biggest reason for being here. But on the teacher evaluation form, there's one part that says all learners, and there's another part that says teachers should be proficient or knowledgeable in child and adolescent development or psychology. I'm not sure the exact wording. I remember when we had a presentation of the goals the teachers were setting for themselves, and I asked a question about 2 of the goals, a minimum of 2 need to be academic. Could a third be social emotional or something else? And the answer was no, that even an optional one couldn't be anything but academics. And I feel like we're becoming widgets. And I think there are a lot of parents and people out there that really do believe in all this educational thrust, but not to the exclusion of everything else. And I think the interpretations become that.
You know, Sharon, this is the first time I've seen this, hopefully a finalized one, come before me, so I'm speaking. As I see learners, if I send a boy off to become a middle school chorale or instrumental music, or a 9th grader who's going to, for the first time, go into drama on the performing arts stage, or go out in the fields, or an adult coming in here in the evening to learn something, I see that term as so generic that it really does encompass all that this building called school should be about, from the most extreme, not just academics. I don't know who put it in there. Maybe it wasn't when we first discussed this a couple months ago.
It was in there before, and I kind of said the same thing, because the interpretation, if you can only have only academic goals and nothing social emotional, that is stating that those things are not of any importance. No one can make a goal that has to do with anything but academic. So it can't be things like social skills, or at elementary school there's first start or first step, second step I think it is. That can't be a priority, even a third priority.
Right.
So It's the way it's being interpreted.
Steve?
I take, well, two things. Community of learners includes administration, teachers, and students. Because we all have to learn and we all have to evolve. And when I hear learners, I don't think just academics.
Neither do I.
I see that encompassing, the kid who's not a good basketball player who finally makes a basketball team. That's, so, I feel that the way this is presented really does show what we are about and what we're trying to put forward.
Mr. Russell?
Brian, yes.
Reading this, in fact, I'm just going to read it quickly so people know what the heck we're talking about. The proposed mission statement states, Monomoy Regional School District is a community of learners of all ages focused on building knowledge, positive character, and resiliency in a safe, creative, and challenging environment. The use of the word learners is obviously used as a noun, not as a verb. We're not limiting people to learning. We're defining a group of people as learners. And it's clearly not focused just on academics because it specifically, in fact, the only word in here that deals with academics is really building knowledge. The rest of it, positive character and resiliency in a safe, creative, and challenging environment, to me covers everything else that we're trying to accomplish. So I don't think this is focused too much on the academics. As you point out, the coaches are